Try to find forgiveness. We can build something new.
No. We can't. Because I will never forgive.
A mother's love doesn't always equal the happiness of her child. What felt like an eternity of torment for Baldur, brought on by his mother Freya, can attest to this. What could have possibly led to the god of light, the pride of the Aesir, and Odin's very best tracker, spiraling into a miserable existence that only festered for an entire century into an insane lust for vengeance? Baldur was born into a very dysfunctional and hostile family as the only child in the peace agreement marriage of his father Odin, chief of the Aesir tribe of gods, and his wife Freya, one of several leaders of the rival Vanir tribe. Being the younger half-brother of the thunder god Thor and the war god Tyr, Baldur did not live within their shadows at all, and used his tremendous power as the god of light to set himself apart from everyone else. While his brother Thor, for example, possessed an extremely solid and burly build, Baldur's frame was much smaller in comparison, as he was no larger than a mortal man, but was still intimidating with his lean physique meant to reflect his speed. And despite his size, Baldur was gifted with the expected superhuman strength and durability that a god would have. But his control over light and even the elements themselves made him a force to be reckoned with. With the power of light, Baldur can move at extreme speeds, create explosions and earth-shattering shockwaves, and throw light-based projectiles. His power over the elements aren't fully disclosed, but it seems that Baldur is able to manipulate ice by using it to coat his hands, allowing for a harder-hitting attack, creating ice blasts and making icicles protrude from the ground. And when it comes to fire, Baldur is able to create waves of flames and use it to give his attacks burning effects. At a currently unknown time in his life, Baldur's mother Freya learned through a certain prophecy that her beloved son would at some point die a needless death, which would kickstart Ragnarok, the end of the gods. In order to avoid this, Freya attempted to selfishly defy Baldur's morbid fate by placing a spell, or a better term, curse, on Baldur that made him invulnerable to all threats, physical or magical. As nothing is perfect, the spell came with a side effect, one that would determine the fate of not only Baldur, but the fate of the 9 realms along with everyone in it. Baldur lost all feeling, from the pain of a bug bite, to the pleasure of a woman, and even the temperature of the air around him. Baldur begged and pleaded with his mother to remove what he now considered a curse, but her only response was refusal, and that with time, Baldur would thank her for what she had done. With rage overcoming him, Baldur attempted to end Freya's life, but ultimately didn't after mustering the last of his love for her to spare her. Baldur felt like a coward for opting to never see his mother again rather than killing her, and spent the next 100 years in Asgard with Odin and Thor as his mental state spiraled into utter madness. Stuck in a never-ending state of complete deprivation, Baldur discovered that not even multiple suicide attempts could end his anguish. There was no life to live, no people to care for, only hatred for himself and the source behind his ever-growing depravity, Freya. Baldur's own father, Odin, was completely aware of his son's deteriorating sanity, and took advantage of this, which was no surprise to those who knew of Odin's tendencies and antics. With vain promises of a non-existent cure, Odin regularly had Baldur do his bidding, the latter remaining as ignorant as ever. Only one weakness existed for Baldur's condition, and only 2 people knew what it was, neither of them being Odin. Baldur grew to rely on his condition as a way to never falter or quit entirely on his hunt for whoever Odin sent him after, and his never-ending persistence made him the go-to tracker for the Aesir. Baldur would continue to do whatever his father asked of him, with hopes that he would finally return home to Asgard with an end to his suffering waiting for him. But the chances of that happening were only possible within a dream. Eventually, Odin would call upon Baldur once again. This time, Baldur would be sent to investigate a now broken protection spell encircling a plot of land in the Wildwoods, with the purpose of hunting down one of 2 remaining members of the Jotnar people, the longtime enemies of the Aesir. It was said that within this section of the Wildwoods was the location of the last guardian of the Jotnar, and so Baldur would arrive at this particular place, where nothing but some old ruins and a single lone cabin would greet him. As he approached and then knocked on the door to this small cabin, Baldur could only hope that the person he would come face to face with on the other side would be the one to finally put an end to his suffering. Thank you all so much for watching. And after some time off, I feel that it's time for God of War to be back on the channel. After dealing with some burnout for a while, it feels really good to have refound my love for this awesome series, and I'm actually enjoying it again. And now that some circumstances have changed, there are ways to prevent that burnout from ever happening again. So, I guess, just get used to expecting God of War on this channel again. I'll see you next time.